Caliban is our newest spin to win a Warframe. In today's video, I have two builds for this Warframe, and with the newest augment added in with the Isleweaver update, this Warframe, well, becomes the title of this video, a spin to win Warframe. Find out how by watching the video, so let's quickly get into it. Caliban is one of the Warframes that has been getting buffs and buffs and buffs this year. He has been truly glowing up, and now I have a final build for him, I guess, question mark. Hopefully he doesn't get any other augments or anything else, but the looks definitely don't need to change. Look at the fashion frame for Caliban here with his new deluxe skin. It looks incredible. I love my color scheme. First of all, it is a subjective opinion, of course, but you can see everything that you want, and maybe you can try it out for yourself. The skin itself, as I said, looks really cool, but we all know when Caliban Prime comes out, he's gonna look much, much better. But what's gonna look incredibly good is increasing that subscriber count down there. So click that subscribe bell icon to get notified when I upload. It does help out a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a like and commenting on what you think of the build is going to be also something that you can do. So that's something that I can do for you, is showing you the passive abilities and everything else. So let's quickly get into that. The passive being that him and his allies within affinity range gain adaptive armor. Now, this is sort of like adaptation, where if you take a certain elemental damage, you can see it up on the screen demonstrated, you're gonna get an immunity to that certain element, and you can stack it up to 50%. Keeping in mind that this will not stack with adaptation, it will just choose the higher value, but honestly, you do not need adaptation with this. A really good passive, I do have to say, and it helps out a lot. What is going to help you out the most is going to be Razor Gyre, his first ability. This will allow you to dash towards enemies, applying a unique element to this Warframe, Tau, which will increase the enemy's vulnerability to status effects, which is very nice. It is also going to replenish your shields and health. Other than regenerating your health and also your shields, Razor Gyre gives some of your energy back to you, 25% of the enemy's hit per enemy hit, which is very nice. This is going to be an incredibly good ability. You can use this sort of like a free rolling guard and also a regen. But what truly makes this ability is Razor Mortar. This is the newest augment added in with the Isleweaver update. This is going to allow you to group enemies up. Instead of just going through these enemies, you're going to pick them up, and then your ortholists, which I'll explain in just a second, will focus their fire on those enemies with 70% electricity damage and fire rate for 6 seconds. And trust me, this is going to allow you to nuke large groups of enemies when you pick them up, so this is a must-have. The second ability is going to be Sentient Wrath. You are going to stomp the ground, summoning waves that are going to go travel towards enemies, lifting them up and making them more vulnerable to damage, and also applying Tau as well and damaging them with Tau as well. This is a really good ability. This is a really good CC ability as well, and the damage vulnerability will help you out a lot. But the third ability is going to be the secret ingredient. We have Lethal Progeny. This is an ability with 3 different types of sentience that you can summon. Let's start off with the first sentience that you can summon, and those are gonna be the Conculists. You're gonna summon 3 melee Conculists that are going to fight and then spin around a little bit, dealing Tau and slash damage to enemies. And when you use your fourth ability, as you can see right now, they are gonna fire the fusion strike or fusion laser as well, and applying a lot of Tau, so they are pretty useful. But the second one, Caliban's ortholists, are the ones that we need. These are gonna be 3 ranged mortars, which are gonna, skidoo, transform into a mortar, and then launch a mortar that's gonna do Tau damage, and it has an explosion of 300% Tau status chance, splitting into 3 smaller bombs that are going to inflict even more Tau. And with the amount of damage that you're going to be doing, you're going to be instantly nuking those enemies with today's build. And the third one, we have the Summonalist, which is going to be 1 massive summon, and it's going to open up a portal through its belly and summon smaller lists that will just attack enemies. Honestly, this is the worst one. We're not going to be using this one. We're going to be using the Ortholist, which is going to be our second option. One of the things that all 3 do have in common, though, is they will give you increased shield regen, which is incredibly good, and it can go and spill over into overshields, which is even better. And our fourth ability, Fusion Strike. You will fire a laser from the left and right hand and meeting in the middle, and armor stripping, shield stripping enemies as well, dealing Tau damage and applying a lot of Tau on said enemies, and there will be an explosion at the end of the finishing laser, which is gonna do even more Tau damage. This is going to be a really good ability considering it fully armor strips your enemy. Now, what is gonna be the Helminth ability of choice? It is going to be Roar. In this case, we are going to subsume Roar instead of Sentient Wrath. Roar, first of all, is gonna increase the strength of our abilities and the damage of our abilities, which is going to be incredibly good for lethal Progeny and also your Razor Gyre. And I kept Fusion Strike here just because the armor strip is more wide range and also, in my opinion, more useful benefit to have than the damage vulnerability and the lifting that you get from Sentient Wrath. But you can use either or in the build, which we will be seeing a little bit later on. First of all, we need the main build, and this is my main Caliban build. In the aura slot, we have Summoner's Wrath, which is going to increase the damage of our companions and summons by 75%. We have Prime Sure-Footed. It's not needed. You can use Handspring or the base variant, but it is going to be really good. We have Overextended, Prime Continuity, Archon Stretch, Razor Mortar, Equilibrium, Transient Fortitude, Archon Intensify, Blind Rage, and Molt Augmented and Arcane Commissado. Archon Stretch is going to be incredibly good because you're going to be regenerating your energy because you have a lot of electricity through your first ability, and Archon Intensify also is going to activate through your first ability. So I honestly think that this is the most optimal way of going with this Warframe. The Arcanes, I personally don't know what you could switch them out for. Maybe some comments down below would be pretty good. I'm probably gonna expect them anyway, but I'm always open to different opinions and different loadouts as well. And now we can cover the second build that is going to include Roar, and this is it up on screen. It pretty much stayed the same, but we are utilizing Growing Power instead of Summoner's Wrath, but that is pretty much it. We want to cover the Archon Shards of choice. We have 3 blue ones, we have 2 Tau Force ones, and 1 base one. We have 1 red one, which is going to increase our duration by 10%, and we have a purple one, which is going to increase our ability damage on enemies affected by electricity by 10%, which is really good. I would recommend if you have a Tau Force one, it is going to be a better option than the base one, but I sadly don't. But nonetheless, you can see in the gameplay, and you've seen it through the gameplay, that you're going to be nuking enemies pretty much without any issue. What's going to help you out is going to be the focus school of choice. We have Mother Rai. We have a power transfer here, which is going to increase your casting speed when you switch from your operator to your Warframe, and we have Sling Strength, which, switching to your Warframe after chain slinging around, is going to give you 40% ability strength, which is going to be incredibly good, but you don't necessarily need to use this. And the weapons of choice. Now, the weapons of choice are not that important, but I would give you a couple of recommendations just because I love you guys. The first weapon that I would highly recommend, the Kuva Brahma. The Kuva Brahma is still incredibly good. I have a video on it. It's a little eye up there. This weapon, this build up on screen, is going to be incredibly good. You're not necessarily going to utilize your weapon a lot, but it can be helpful, keeping in mind that you can armor strip with your Fusion Strike, and you can also armor strip acolytes. It is going to be incredibly good. The other weapon that I recommend would be the Cedo or the Cedo Prime. This is the build that I would recommend for both weapons. If you don't have primary Frostbite, you can use primary Merciless. It's not that important, considering you're not really modding for cold here anyway, because you already passively have it on your alternative fire. The other cool weapon that I would recommend is the Boar Prime Incarnon. Also incredibly good Incarnon and base weapon. I really love using this weapon. Such a good weapon. If you don't have these weapons, you can, for example, use the Tenant Orca Plasmor. That's going to be a pretty good weapon. You can use the Basal Cyst, which is one of the new Infested Lich weapons. This is the build for that. Other than that, as I said, it is completely up to you, mainly and secondary as well. The Companion is something that I would recommend you guys use, and the one for my choice is going to be a Primer Hound. A Primer Hound is going to be incredibly good, primarily for synergized Prospectus. This is going to launch an electric ball that's going to spread around and attack enemies, and with Contagious Bond, it's going to spread a lot of status effects on a lot of enemies. Reinforced Bond is also going to help you out with your Rate of Fire, which is going to be incredibly good in those little pinch situations, and Sin Deconstruct, as always, giving you extra health orbs, in turn turn with equilibrium, extra energy orbs, and the weapon of choice, the Akka 10. The Akka 10 build is up on screen right now. We have cold, corrosive, radiation, magnetic, slash, puncture, everything out the wazoo. We have a lot of status elements. In some situations, you might actually see your hound just nuke enemies in the background while you're doing your thing. How are you supposed to do your thing? Well, it is plain and simple. As Caliban, all you need to do is use your first ability. You're gonna regen health, you're gonna regen energy, shields, pretty much everything, crowd controlling enemies, and then once you get enough energy, summon your ortholists, and then start nuking away. Use your fourth sometimes, use your second, or activate roar, of course, before everything if you're using the roar build. That's pretty much it. All you need to do is kill a couple of those scattering enemies, or just gather them up yourself, and rinse and repeat. Keep up your 3 at pretty much all times. They are gonna regen your shields as well, so that's gonna be pretty good. And I do recommend sometimes keep your distance from that pesky acolyte, because they can get tricky depending on which one you get, but that's just a little bit of helpful advice. This has been the Caliban build video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, do leave a like, a comment, and do subscribe for more. I'm very glad to be back. I'll be back for more. I got everything that I needed for my setup, so that's why I was away. But Caliban, incredibly good. I love this Warframe. I'm so happy he's getting updates more and more. It makes me feel really good. I cannot wait for tomorrow or today, depending on when this video comes out, for TennoCon. Love you guys. This has been the Gaming Weasel, over and out.